Hi, I'm Andrew Rich, and if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.
Hello, Voices of Wrestling listener. Dave Ryan here. Have you ever wondered to yourself how many hidden gems are hidden away inside the last years of World Championship Wrestling? Have you ever asked yourself how many tenuous gags can be made about the name Mike Enos? And have you ever thought about what it sounds like for two Irishmen to interpret a very chaotic company through its B-show? The answers to all this and more are just a click away. Check out Days of Thunder every second Thursday on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Super J Cast. I'm Joel, joined by Damon McDonald. It is Tuesday, the 14th of October, 2025. This is episode 383. We are back. We've not pulled the plug just yet, Damon. How are you feeling after getting a lot of stuff off your chest last week?
Got a lot off, right? Yeah. Yeah, we're fine. I mean, look, it's it had to be done. I think it was one of those things where the kettle got a little too much steam. Had to let some off. And, not to say that the issues aren't still there. The problems aren't still there. The issues that I still have with the company are still there. But, again, if we're being serious in the world that we live in today, it's really not that serious. But that being said, it is, everything I said, I stand by. Everything I think we both said, we both stand by. We're in a pickle, and we had a big show that I thought was very good. But again, we still have a lot of gaps and a lot of holes to fill in before the big show come January 4th.
Yes, it's going to be a really interesting one to talk about because in a lot of ways, watching the tail end of King of Pro Wrestling gave me sort of those warm fuzzies like, this is great matches with exciting wrestlers doing good wrestling and battering each other and that, and thinking, I like this, but then still a lot of issues and little things that are rankling at me, thinking, those concerns, lack of direction and cohesiveness and consistency and things like that. So it's going to be a fun one to unpick, but we are still here. We've not cancelled the podcast just yet. So thank you to all the well wishes. People sent nice messages took you completely at face value and we're like, I guess they've called it a day. Thanks for all the content over the years. We'll miss you guys. Like, no, we're still around. We're like Morgan Freeman in the end of Seven. We'll be around.
We'll be around. And here's the thing too, like even after it was all said and done, I always kind of go into a little bit of a panic of, oh, did I go too far? Did I say too much? Did I whatever? And, this is one of the few times where that's happened where I was like, fuck it, it's going out. And whoever doesn't like it, I don't care.
Yeah, because you don't have to deal with the consequences.
I know, and I feel bad. I trust me. I that's part of it. That's part of the reason why I don't like when it happens, because I hate putting you in that fucking predicament.
No, it works. I'm the shield to protect you from that, so you can speak from the heart. Because I don't want a censored Damon. I want that's I think one of the great strengths of this show, and what people resonated with last week, that you are able to speak unfiltered and give your complete honest opinion about things, and I don't think that should ever change.
I hope not. And like I said, I think that when that day happens, we should just fucking hang it up. Again, but that said, I don't want you to have to fucking field nonsense. And I even told, again, for the people behind the curtain, we have to, when we upload the file after Dan gets done editing it, I usually shoot Joe and Rich because they're the ones that put up the actual show on the actual feed. And I texted them and I kind of said, usually it's just a copy and paste of previous emails, just literally copy paste, go. But this time I kind of added a little bit of, hey, we went off on a little bit of a thing. We put you over, but there might be some people catching strays left and right, and I just don't want you. It just feels. I said, just kind of push them our way, and by our way, it winds up being you. But even they were like, I don't like. Rich was like, we're not even on fucking social media, dude. You're don't matter. Again, but that said, I don't like doing that to you. So, all right. But there you go. That was a show, and I think one of the things
appreciate it rests, like I said, people. I think what you said echoed what a lot of people have been feeling as well. So I think whilst some people were surprised at what the flashpoint was, like it was, that Doki Desperado match was no worse than any of the other shit matches like that they've put on over the year, but it was in the post, wasn't it? That was coming sooner or later. There was something that was going to trigger that, and there were things that needed to be said. So whilst people may not have seen it coming, I think people agree with you.
I hope, and if you don't, then that's okay too. I mean, I don't mind that at all. I just hate the fucking little, what I hate. Anyway, yeah, I got some people texting me and they were like, oh, I was, that was good, or, well, that was, you went off there or whatever. But, again, you're right, Joel. It was, I mean, that match did no favors, but yeah, it's just been building and building and building and building. And, I don't want to be, look, we say it 1,000 times. We want this product to be great. We would even settle for very good. Like, you know what I mean? But it's been 5 years, and, not to rehash what we did last week, but it's been over 5 years, and it's like, okay, when are we going to get our fucking heads out of our asses? But again, the good news is that we have what I thought was a real fun show, and I agree with you. Like, that second half was kind of like, oh, this is kind of that feel. Look, when New Japan is on, I'm sorry, there's nobody who does a big show like New Japan. There really isn't. Like, from a wrestling, get you amped up if you're a fan of the pro wrestling. Like, that's, to me, that's the standard. And it felt a bit like that, or at least it felt like we were in that ballpark. Whereas there have been many times where I'm just like, oh my God, I don't think I could watch another Road 2 show. But it helps that it's this time of year. The weather's starting to change, and you do kind of have your eyes set on the dome, and so things you would expect to pick up a bit. But again, we'll get into it on this show, and hopefully not have a major meltdown like we had last week.
NJ Farrow 44 says, if you're done, thanks for your entertainment. However, I missed the episode where you guys come to a conclusion about what the best Bond theme is. What was it?
The best what?
I was going to ask you, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I could spin this out to another Patreon episode. But we'll give a little sneak preview with the Bond talk. So I know what you're going to say.
What is the best what, Neil?
Bond theme, James Bond song.
Oh, best Bond. Oh, it's Feud or Kill, and it's by a country mile.
Right.
It's one of Duran Duran's best songs, let alone James Bond theme. They play it every fucking show. Went to number one. Yeah, it's a Feud or Kill, easy.
And of course, we had a magical moment singing that together, didn't we?
We did. We did. What? Yours was Live and Let Die, was it?
No, we did View to a Kill together. I might have done Goldfinger.
Ah, that's right. Goldfinger. Are you a fan of the Bond films?
The Thunderball theme song? You know, Tom Jones.
No, not for me.
The fun fact about that: the final note that he hits, he held it for so long that he actually passed out in the recording.
No, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's dedication. I was going to ask, are you a fan of the Bond movies in general?
Yes, I do. I like them. I'm British,
Okay.
Of course. I have to like
Well,
them.
good point. I'm a wannabe. They were the first series of books that I read. I read a bunch. Ian Fleming, I read, and I would go to the library and like get new one, like not new ones, but like ones I hadn't read. But there was like two, like a summer, maybe even like half a year where I was just like banging them out. The movies, they're okay. Obviously, some are better than others. I might be in the minority. I liked Roger Moore. I really did. I thought Roger Moore was fine. Good.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Good. There's people that like to shit on Roger or Moore. I don't know. I don't get that one, but okay, fine. I mean, he's not, again, Sean Connery, but anyway, we're all.
I think Roger Moore carries the sort of sense of cheeky fun and camp that's been lost.
Mm-hmm.
It's all a bit too serious these days.
I do. Yeah, I agree. And I don't know if they rank up there for me when it comes to like action films. Like sometimes it kind of drags and you're waiting for and I guess this might be the American in me, but you're waiting for the fucking smash up explosion and fucking, let's get the good part.
Flabby.
Right. Now, I will say this again, I am a little partial to A View to a Kill, but if I say the name Grace Jones, you know who I'm talking about, right?
Of course, yeah. She was Mayday in View to a Kill.
That is correct. I'm not a fan of hers. She drives me nuts. I don't like people who are too fucking artsy, and she is too fucking artsy for my tastes. Whether it's musical or anything, like it's just over the top artsy for the sake of being artsy, and it's so unneeded. Like, I just say the line. You don't have to fucking have this. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
I thought she's one of the more memorable and nuanced Bond henchmen. Is it fair? Henchwoman? Is it fair to call her that? I thought it's quite.
I think she just. I don't even think she was acting. I think she just showed up on the fucking set. You know what I mean? Like she's just goofy. I don't know. I've never. When I was like in grade school, I was actually afraid of her. She was just like a weirdo. I could never, and the music was just so far out there. I was like, I don't. This person's from fucking Mars. And then she did like the Arcadia thing and everything, so I kind of got a little bit more from. And then again, View to a Kill. Like I just couldn't fucking find I couldn't find a lane for her. I just can't. To this day, she's just one of those people that I'm just like, I don't get you. I don't get you at all. You're too fucking artsy. It's like J. Michael. You know what I mean? Like you use two big words, dude. I can't fucking. I don't.
J. Michael is catching strays already. He's going to be in the DMs about this, all upset.
Oh, he's not. No, here's the thing, though. He's like that's more of my stupidity and my lack of comprehension in the English language than his writing. Like his writing is. It's well. I mean, again, you go through anybody, and they're like, yeah, this guy knows what he's writing. And he writes well, and he's able to put sentences together. And being that we're there, look, you have 2 kids, you got a fucking career, you got this dopey show. You're trying to support a fucking football team. But your writing, that's one thing I wish you did more of. Your writing is really sharp, and it takes you where you want the reader to go, but the way that you get there is certainly not the highway, but it's not this long, windy country road, right? You find that medium that's perfect. I think you should write more. I wish you did.
I should, yeah. Maybe I'll paywall some stuff. I need the right inspiration, though. If I can't think of anything good to write, and the issue is, this show gives me the platform to share a lot of my thoughts. So it's quite rare for me to have something that I want to express that cannot be done through the medium of either this podcast or a little AI generated musical stinger.
That was really good. You did that. I was like, holy I thought at first it was Andrew Rich. No, that's and then I gave you the fucking code for that Sora thing. Oh my God. I've been on it just forever. I can't stop. Can I interest you in the wonderful world of fan fiction?
Yeah, I could maybe put some erotic stories on.
It's always erotic.
The archive of our own. Is that the one that we upset all of them?
Yeah,
several years ago, for reading their stuff out. I didn't know it was from a place of ignorance, but I think I've made my peace with them. I think we're all good now with the fanfic community.
I think so, and we learned a lesson, didn't we? In the story that was written about us after we had butt sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, we learned a lesson.
What a moment in the show!
Really, it really was. I recently told that story to people who kind of sort of know I do this show. And I told that story, and they were just looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, hey, it's just, we were innocent until we weren't. And we pissed people off, and they let us know. And again, at the end of the day, we learned a lesson. So all good. Yeah, I wonder if there's any more of our fan fiction. I wonder if there's any more Super JK's fan fiction. I would love to be privy to that. Somebody's just going to DM you and be like, Damon sucks Joel's cock. The end. All right, we get it.
Straight to the point. I like it.
Yeah, it's a short story.
You should be the one doing the writing, Damon.
Well, I tell you, I have a gift for the pen. Yes. Now, and you do a lot more than I do when it comes to the Patreon and even like being guests on different shows. You're like all over. You're like Mr. fucking multimedia guy. 2 hours of this, I don't think I say the word pro wrestling the rest of the week. And that's just me. Like I just have certain pockets in which, okay, this is who I become and this is where I am, and then all that, kind of falls into place. I don't really talk about wrestling. I don't really talk about wrestling at all with my friends. My best friend knows I love wrestling, and he's been my best friend since 3rd grade. He'll still bring up, is that up Jimmy Snooker? Yeah, seriously. I'm like, dude, come on, stop being ignorant. But he knows Jushin Liger only because of me. But he's never like watched a Jushin Liger match. And he knows, but he knows like fucking The Rock and like, Hulk Hogan and the 80s guys, but that's about it. But this is where I do it. Yeah, this is where I do the pro wrestling talk. So let's do some pro wrestling talk, shall we?
Yeah, so you sort of touched on Patreon stuff there. I did what I think was a really interesting episode with J. Michael and Chris Sampson, where we each fantasy booked our own version of Wrestle Kingdom 20 using the available roster, and that led to some really interesting discussions. So do check that out. That's available for one-time purchase. But why would you do that? Just sign up. Just $10. That's nothing. And who knows what excellent stuff I'll put on there over the next few weeks. I don't even know myself, Damon. We had a question from Mark. It says, given that God is infinite and that the universe is also infinite, what are your best Tokyo food recommendations? I'm not going to give you them here, Mark, because me and John Carroll did an episode last month about how to get along in Tokyo when you're going to visit for wrestling. We talked all about food. There were loads of food restaurant recommendations. I'll give you one here for free, and that is Sushi Zanmai, which is a sushi restaurant, obviously. Their tuna set is life-changing. But, I mean, to be honest, tuna sushi anywhere in Japan is going to be a winner with that. The lovely fatty cuts, the chutoro or the otoro. But if you want even more detailed descriptions and advice and recommendations for food in Tokyo, whether you're on a budget or whether you want to splash a bit of cash, that's on the Patreon. Get your fucking wallet out.
Love it. Yeah, we've been asked that a lot, and it seems like right around Wrestle Kingdom season we get asked it more and more. Yeah, it's a great resource. You can download that, right? Put that right on your phone, and you can listen to that on the plane ride over. Get yourself excited.
That's right.
And then you have it, and then you can kind of be like, oh, okay, got to pin that on Google Maps and pin that and pin there. Yeah, that's for $10. I mean, come on, you can't fucking beat that. And you get a month's worth of shit. Which again, I'll throw some stuff up there sometime soon. I'll take care of the vault and get you some more stuff if you'd like to watch some classic stuff. All right. Okay. Take over.
King of Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
King of Pro Wrestling from Ryogoku Kokugikan. The attendance was 5,372 compared to last year. It's nearly 1,000 fewer than last year. Last year was 6,211 with Zack and Naito in the main event. So people with agendas have been using this to take victory laps and criticize Konosuke Takeshita or criticize Zack Sabre Jr., depending on which side of the fence you're sitting on. Where do you stand on that? Because it's not the greatest number, is it?
No, and those little, kind of, I call them booths, but for big shows, those things are 4 to a cube. You're sitting on the fucking hard plywood of Ryogoku. And there were plenty of booths that had one person, plenty that had 2, but I didn't see many 4. I don't even know if it was available, to be honest with you. They probably didn't even make it available, so because the need wasn't there. I wouldn't put the blame 100% on the main event. I think people, not to toot my own horn, but I think a lot of people have the same concerns that I do. And they didn't want to fork over the money for a show because they didn't trust them. And there is a little bit of goodwill that has to be rebuilt, I would think. Now, again, some people are not a fan of this new IWGP World Championship situation. And you could hear that in some of the responses, and you could hear that in the reactions. You could hear that in the lack of reactions. But I'm a firm believer that if you consistently put on good shows, the people will come. It's really as simple as that. If you put on a product that's worthy of the price tag, people will show up. It's not that hard. So, yeah, I mean, again, we got one in the bag. Let's see if we can keep the momentum going, I guess.
Yeah, I was trying to actually find the number for Meow.
Yeah.
Not for Meow. For King of Pro Wrestling in 2023, which was that god-awful Evil versus Sanada main event. Because I've got a feeling that one did a better number than this one.
Yeah.
So let's have a look.
I think you might be right.
One of Okada's biggest crimes, right, is starting that fucking KOPW championship. Because now, if I search for King of Pro Wrestling, I've got to try and sift through all the stuff that's referring to that King of Pro Wrestling, not this King of Pro Wrestling. Because I'm not talking about that King of Pro Wrestling. I'm talking about this King of Pro Wrestling, and it's all really confusing.
Well, Google should know. Google should be able to pick up on your.
Oh, and it's actually difficult because, right, 2023, it wasn't even called King of Pro Wrestling. The October show in Sumo Hall was called Destruction, just because they want to fuck with me. And that did 5,002.
Okay. All right.
So,
But here's the thing too.
Fewer than this.
Okay. And here's the thing, though. Even with that, though, like you could still kind of cash in on that good faith. And I think a lot of fans were just kind of holding off hope, being like, okay, this is just a little rough patch. This is a little turbulence. But yeah, come to find out that turbulence lasted 2 fucking years. And we're not out of the woods yet, mind you. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that I got it off my chest. But but even without the rant, I thought the show was good. Again, I'm a firm believer, Joel, that if they put together consistent, good quality pro wrestling shows, the fans can come back, no matter who's the champion, no matter who's doing what. I think they can. If they put on good pro wrestling shows, the people will return.
Chiba Man says, how awkward was that on cam when they appeared to have Charlton and Walker Stewart hidden in the fucking rafters?
I know, my God. Just because a guy likes to have a sandwich or two at night, Jesus Christ, they're gonna shame him. Yeah, that was pretty.
It's his tallness more than anything.
He's a big boy. He's an Oklahoma guy raised on fucking steak and potatoes. What do you want? You hired the fucking guy. You know what you were getting yourself into. I say, let the fans not see. I say, block their view. That was sad. I again, whatever. I just find that to be just awful. But okay, whatever. Fine.
That is quite funny to think that. Sorry, that at Wrestle Kingdom, I'm going to have better seats than they will.
You probably will. You'll probably be sitting right next to them. Did you see our guy? Getting hustled out from the post show. Oh my God. Holy shit. If you haven't seen it, watch the very end. You know how they always cut, Walker and Chris are like, all right, we're going to go backstage in a moment once they get going and we'll do the translation, blah, 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 blah. And then the camera though goes to the Japanese commentary team, right? And Tanahashi's there. And our boy Frazier was right on, like right in the camera's view, and you see security kind of go and be like, "You got to go, you got to get out. We're not having any." Right? Oh, and Frazier's like, "I got to get my shit." Like you see him like kind of like pantomime to the floor, like I got to pick up my fucking. And now he's picking up and putting shit in his bag, and they're like Harry, go get out. And he's like, the show just fucking ended. It's hilarious. I was pissing myself laughing.
Royal seats. That's how you get treated. Fucking hell.
Yeah. Oh, they couldn't wait to clear that area. They were kicking people out left and right from there just because of fucking Tanahashi. Like, again, if they didn't bother him during the show, they're not going to bother him after. But I guess they just wanted just a shot of the commentary. Oh my God, he was like pointing at the floor, like, what the fuck? I'm like, I gotta get my shit. It was so funny. I felt so bad.
Oh dear. Right. This show began then with the IWGP Women's Title match with Syuri defeating Sari in 40 minutes 56 seconds with the Sue Sekai, and a lot of scuttlebutt going into this. That this was Sari basically trying to dump the IWGP Women's Title so she could rejoin Marigold. I believe something about online bullying or death threats or something. It all sounded very unsavory to me, but I can only speak to the match. And by God, they packed a lot into this 50 minutes because they've had two really critically acclaimed epic matches earlier this year. I want to say I think I watched one of them, so expectations were high going into it, and a nice little treat to add on to the card. So they worked their socks off, and I thought the match was really entertaining. They did a tremendous job. Didn't really get the crowd on board. There's a wider discussion to have there about doing these sort of crossover things, because I get the feeling that for the majority of fans at these shows are not really interested in Stardom. If they're interested in Stardom, they go and watch Stardom. But it doesn't mean they should stop trying to cross promote. I think they should keep doing it, because I like to watch the matches. They're good. So they were killing each other. They were out there like dropping each other on their heads to sort of light applause and very sort of mild disinterest from the fans. So I felt a bit bad for them, but can't fault the effort. I thought it was a cracking match.
I thought it was incredible to open up a show. I think Stardom has had a very good year, and there are people that watch it, a little bit more religiously than I do, that have said that they're having a killer year. Look, I hate this relationship that they have, in the sense of they just put them on as filler. What was the one comment? They were like, "Oh, they're fighting for this championship because Wrestle Kingdom's right around the corner." And I'm thinking to myself, to do what? To go on some fucking, outdoor match, like, out in the parking lot.
Well, you know what? They might get a decent spot this year because I think it's Saya Kamatani, who's like the big superstar in Stardom at the moment, who's getting a lot of traction. She's declared she's going to be doing something at Wrestle Kingdom, so they might actually give them some decent time this year.
They're going to be. They're not, I don't even think they're going to be on the main show. They weren't on the main show last year, were they? Or were they the first match? I think they were like on the pre-show, right?
I'd have to look that up. Let's have a look. Wrestle.
I'm not going to. I'm sorry to put you. But I don't. But again, I just think that it's not like they're getting marquee positions. When they come to the U.S., they seem to use them a lot more.
The second match on the main card.
Second
Mai Iwatani against Azumi, and they got 8 minutes.
I mean, there you go, 8 minutes. But here's the thing, though. Every time they get an opportunity, they make the fucking most of that 8 minutes. Like, there's not a breath to be had in those 8 minutes. They just go guns a-blazing. So it's never bad. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, New Japan, I think they forget they have them sometimes, and then they're like, oh, we got to get something to go in there, and it's just like, all right, let's just chuck something on there. And that's not a partnership. That's that's bullshit in my eyes. But yeah, you're right. If they wanted to see Stardom, they would go see Stardom, and I think the majority of the people there have a passing interest in it, and they appreciate what they saw. But I don't think that there were many people that were like clamoring to get them higher positions on the card. It's just, that's the truth. And I don't think that they have people in the company that are clamoring to have them in higher positions on the card. So you got to shoulder shrug it and be like, all right, it is what it is. I hope that improves, because at every given opportunity, they do everything they can. It's just the company that's got them handcuffed.
Well, they don't really need New Japan's help.
They really don't.
At the moment, they're doing excellently, well booked. They've got big marquee stars. So I think maybe New Japan would benefit from having some New Japan matches on Stardom shows to piggyback on some of their success. Anyway, next match was Clark Connors, Taiji Ishimori, David Finlay defeating Titan, Hiromu, and Shingo. It was David Finlay got the pin over Titan after 7 minutes 58 seconds via overkill, and nothing particularly consequential here. We did have an angle later on in the show, but I thought this was really good for the second match on the card, 6-man tag match. I wasn't expecting a huge amount here, but I thought they worked really hard. Love to see Titan. It's absolutely criminal the way he is underused by New Japan. I think they should be doing all they can to try and secure him to more dates. Not even in Super Junior Tag League. Gutted about that. I was really looking forward to seeing him. But yeah, we got to see him here, so there we go. Nice match.
Yeah, good opener. Again, unaffiliated is, I don't know. I don't like. What do you say about that? What do you say about?
Here's my tinfoil hat theory. And again, this is not based on anything I've heard, but I think they're just treading water with that because they don't know whether Naito's going to return or not. So if they knew decisively, like, oh, Naito's definitely not coming back, then they'd split them up or rebrand it properly or something. But it just feels like they're in a holding pattern whilst the company are trying to figure out whether or not they're going to get Tetsuya Naito back in the company, and then they might do something about it.
I know, and then at this point of the show, mind you, they are still a little teases here and there and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just a weird, like, again, I thought the match, and I will say this, they're up and down the show, up and down the card, everybody had their working boots on. I thought everybody really was like strapped in and said, okay, let's have a really fucking, no matter what we got in the ring, we're going to work together to make sure that this is good. Yeah, but again, just more weirdness with unaffiliated. And then as we see later in the show, maybe not unaffiliated. Who knows?
Then the next match was the Riot in Ryogoku no disqualification, no count-out match with Driller Maloney defeating Sanada in 30 minutes, 37 seconds. Via lots of stuff happened. 13 minutes.
13.
13, yeah.
Because I was like,
30 minutes. Come on, Damon.
it felt like 30, but I was like, was it really 30 minutes? I was okay, 13. Okay, that makes more sense.
Via, was it a guitar shot and a driller killer? And a question here from the Bebbler that says, can Sanada canonically teleport or does he have clones? Now that's the most interesting discussion about that weird entrance where we had Disco Sanada coming out and his face looked a bit strange and waxy, and then the lights went out and then it was speakers on the shoulders persona character Sanada coming out through the entrance, and of absolutely no consequence. Like, what? Who was that other guy who seemed to be wearing a Sanada mask of absolute no consequence to the match? He didn't play into it. I thought, they might have been a distraction or something, but he was just like, no, couldn't decide on the entrance, and we wanted to have two entrances, so he decided to have some sort of like Mission Impossible style latex prosthetic mask put over someone else so they could dress up as him. Just, I love Sanada. When he goes like full weirdo nutter like this, I can't help but admire just the sheer lunacy of the man. He's absolutely unhinged. So when he's allowed to do stuff like this, that is just, again, has absolutely no bearing on what's happening in storyline or in the wrestling match. I'm just a little bit in awe of him. But I mean, the match itself was, I think I over-delivered my expectations. I was kind of feared the worst with a match of this sort of structure. I thought we were just going to get like lazy Sanada doing a walk and brawl. And I thought, whilst it was Driller who brought most of the energy and the intensity to the match, I thought Sanada played his part well, and it was a lot more violent and bloody than I expected it to be. So if you looked at Driller Maloney's social media afterwards, he got his head split open, like literally split open, and he had all staples in his head. It was really gnarly. Like I don't know what that was from, if it was from the fork or the guitar. I'm assuming it was the guitar, but he was pissing blood in this one, and it looked tremendous. And I thought, whilst the match, it wasn't anything spectacular, I thought it served its purpose in making Driller Maloney look like a badass, and the great visuals of him pouring blood. And I thought he had a really good aura about him. So that's, I think, a pretty significant win to get a singles win over Sanada. Say what you want about him, but in a big show like that in Sumo Hall, former world champion, former Wrestle Kingdom main eventer, I mean, that means something. So I think it clearly signifies they've got plans for Driller Maloney. I don't know what they are. I'm curious to see what you think his ceiling is, or what the sort of near future holds for him. But if the purpose of this match was to make Driller look good, mission accomplished.
I think it added a different layer. Like, what was the last time you saw that much blood in a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring? It's been a while. And, in the right spots and in the right time, like something like that can add to the drama of a match. There were parts of this match that I really hated, like that whole table spot where they made half the fucking front row move and they did nothing. Like they've set up all these chairs and all this shit, and this little old lady sitting there, and she's like, I gotta move, where am I gonna go? I'm stuck. And they're like, get out of the way, here comes the trouble. And nothing really happened. They did the weird spot. Again, Driller went through the table, mind you. Weird spot on the show too. Like second match, like we're slicing each other open, huh? Me too. I mean, it was a kind of a little bit of a shock and a wake up call, and to see Sanada be involved in that, and get involved in double juice That's cool. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised at Drilla having that much sandpaper. But again, it showed another. You don't need that from Sonata, but to have him have another layer to who he is and what he is, I didn't have a problem with that. The ceiling for
Well,
him.
yeah, you remember when they had the dog pound steel cage match, the first one,
Mhm.
the one that was Osprey's last match, when he came out with a bandolier of forks, and there was the whole thing with Francesco Acquera. I think he showed it then as well, so he was sort of like tapping back into that really violent, nasty side that he showed, which is we've not seen so much of recently. So we have seen it before, and I think it was really nice to have those layers to the character where deep down, like, this is a quite dangerous and violent man that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a guy who's like going to rewind a match to be like, oh, where did they pull out the blade? Like, I like that. To me, that you're a ghoul. You know what I mean? If you're doing that. But I am curious to see, like, yeah, if you're telling me that the guy got staples in his head, either he needs a crash course in, taking out the blade and not slicing your head off, or, if it was the guitar shot or whatever. Yeah, I mean, you never want to see somebody get a fucking staple, for Christ's sake. But yeah, I thought, I don't know, there was something about the excessive amount of blood that, I don't know, kind of got my juices going a little bit, got me bloodthirsty, if you will.
Yeah, very much so, and just not the sort of match that you usually see on a show like
Right.
this. So yeah, it's nice to see something a bit different. And what do you think for Driller? Do you think he gets a spot on the Wrestle Kingdom card?
Oh God, yeah, yeah. I think that win cemented his spot. He challenges something, that's pretty vague, but I think he challenges for a title. I think, if you wanted to do a TV or, well, I mean, we're kind of limited now on spots, but I think so. I wouldn't be opposed to that. I really wouldn't. I think the guy works hard. Look, do I think he's tailor made for NXT? Do I think that's his next destination? I absolutely 1,000% do. That being said, I think they can squeeze a lot of juice out of him. I think there's plenty there. Do I think he's like the most talented wrestler on the roster? I do not. But there's a nice middle ground there somewhere for him. I don't got a problem with him. He looks good. He tries hard. You can't fault him for the efforts. Yeah, I think we're in good shape with him. Squeeze a little bit more out of him before he leaves. I think it's a good thing.
Then we had the Hiroki Goto comeback match where we had Bishamon and Yo defeating Hartley Jackson, Kosei Fujita, and Ryohei Oiwa. 7 minutes, 55 seconds. Goto pinned Hartley Jackson with the GTR. A question here from Shrub, who says, can we declare ourselves so back now that Goto has finally dethroned Okada on the PWI 500?
Wow.
Yeah, big feather in his cap. E Honda back on where he belongs, and I'm curious. The match was nothing special, nothing to write home about, but I'm curious where they slot Goto in moving forward. So he has challenged Takeshita for the IWGP title at the Tanahashi Homecoming show in Gifu, but I don't think he's likely to win that. And I'm just interested to see what they do with him going forward. If they try and continue to extract value from him as a big singles guy, or if they go back to the Bishamon world, because with the exciting state of the heavyweight tag division at the moment, I actually would like to see that. If you were to give me the choice, I'd say, yeah, let's get Bishamon back in action and let's see them mixing it up with the tag guys.
Yeah. I mean, he got one of the most exciting responses coming out and winning, and then doing what he does later in the show and challenging. People were excited for him. Look, he is one of the last links to that era. Hiroki Goto had a great year, and maybe that's on a sliding scale, but he had a great year. And if he didn't get injured and hurt, who knows where he would be. He's still going to get votes for New Japan Wrestler of the Year, and I can't believe we're saying that in 2025. But I think they're going to milk him as a single as much as they can. I really do. And I wouldn't have a problem with him getting back with Yoshihashi, but I don't know if there's a need for it right now. But I mean, I think it's a definite for World Tag League, right? I can't imagine it not being. But yeah, there's something to be said about even the fans in the building knowing that, okay, he's a guy who can go. And it's not about, let's let the old guy get one last shot at this. It's really not. It's more of he can fucking still go. And yeah, and he's New Japan through and through and all the things. He's had a great year. Like at first I was kind of like, are there only like 4 people that can challenge for this fucking world title? like honestly, that was my first thought, but it makes sense. Like who else is pre-baked, ready to go? You could slap him in, take a loss, and still feel good about it. That's him. And you know, when I joke about, what is there, only like 3 or 4 guys that can fucking challenge for this title? Yeah, there are. And while that seems a little bit preposterous at this point, it's really not. Like you're going to get, well, first of all, you're going to get a gate regardless, right? You're going to pop a house regardless. But you're going to add that extra flavor on top of it. I don't think anybody's walking in there saying, yep, he's walking away with that title and they're going to fuck up the Wrestle Kingdom plans and here we go. Well, they could. Right? We've seen wackier things. And I don't think anyone was like Hiroki Goto in 2025 winning the fucking world title at any point. I mean, look, do I think it's going to happen? No. But if it sells tickets and it gets people rocking and rolling and Takeshita can have a really solid defense, I'm all for it. What the fuck? Let's go for it.
And then there was a video announcing the New Beginning USA in Trenton, New Jersey on February 27th.
Trenton, New Jersey.
What is it? Just call it Minor City Slum.
As I call it, Minor City Slum. Yeah.
Which would be a great name for the show. First, the company that brought you Windy City Right, here's Minor City Slum.
Yeah. It's not even like the biggest city in New Jersey. It's maybe like 3rd or 4th. It's our state capital. Somebody please get Walker Stewart a map. It is nowhere near the Jersey Shore. It is on the other side of the state. It's closer. It actually just butts right against Pennsylvania on the Delaware River. The problem is that this arena, it's a nice arena. They've done a little bit of rehab on it. WWE will run shows there. Like there's B and C teams will run shows there. The good news is that it's between Philly and New York. And it's right on the the Northeast Extension. So you can go to Penn Station, get on the New Jersey Transit train, boop, get dropped right off at fucking Trenton. And vice versa. You could 30th Street Station in Philly, boop, right up there, less than an hour train ride. So I could drive from my house. It's like 40 minutes, if that. Again, the arena is a smaller arena. They would house, like, for those hockey fans out there, East Coast Hockey League. That tells you the quality of hockey that you're getting there. For those who are unfamiliar, so you have your NHL, then you have your AHL, and then like I don't even know if I would put the East Coast Hockey League below AHL. Probably like some major juniors I would put above that. So it's not a big barn, but it's bigger than ECW Arena. Let's put it that way. It is an arena, but there's nothing there. Like, you're not going to go to Trenton and hang out, and there's nothing there, at least the last time I was there. And truth be told, nobody goes there unless you have to go to Trenton. So you're literally going to the arena, boop, out the door. But again, the good news is that you could, if you were the traveling type, Philly, New York, you could take the train and be there in 45 minutes either way. So in that sense, it's good. Trenton's a fucking dump. So, I mean, you could go over the bridge and go to New Hope and go antiquing if that's your thing. Why would you do that? Oh, New Hope is a big. It's like one of those little bed and breakfasty towns, Joe. It's and they have bars there too. So I guess you could, but there's not a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan that's going to go over the bridge into Pennsylvania and go into fucking New Hope. That ain't happening. There's nothing to do in Trenton. I got news for you. So go there for the show, and we'll see what happens.
The promotional video for this had Takeshita front and center. Gabe was in it, ELP, Ishii, Zach. No strong branding for whatever that's worth, but my immediate fear was like, oh God, that's going to be a Takeshita defending the IWGP title against Gabe Kidd's AEW produce match. That's where they're heading. So I started spiraling. I thought maybe I should just not pay attention to that. It's only a promotional video. It may mean nothing, but there you go. New Japan of America is not dead, contrary to reports. And yeah, he'll see you on February 27th. You going to go to that?
Depends. I mean, honestly, depends. It depends on what the show is. It really does. I'm not going to just go there just because fucking Kojima's on a fucking show. You know what I mean? Like against some fucking indie guy. I ain't doing that.
Fred Rosser versus Tom Lawler 8.
Right, exactly. Am I going to see the West Coast Wrecking Crew again? Yeah. So it's I'll tell you what. Here's the barometer, and this is not a knock on this person, but TJP. If TJP's on the show, I'm not going. Because you just know where it's headed. You know what I mean? You know where we're fucking going with this. That's going to be the barometer.
The Stray Dog Army. I want my boys. I can't remember who was in the Stray Dog Army now. Mysterioso. Oh God, not Patrick Bateman. It was just Bateman, wasn't it? Patrick Bateman's the character from American Psycho. And who was the third guy? Fuck, I can't remember at all. That's going to annoy me. I'm going to have to look it up. Because I was just thinking...
You were just saying words at this point.
Let's have a look. Stray... Because there was a third guy, and I can't remember who it was. And that's going to bother me now. Barrett Brown! That was it.
Barrett Brown. How could you forget about Barrett Brown? He's screaming in his car right now. It was me! I doubt Barrett Brown owns a car. How about that? All right. Very good. Well, so there's that. Trenton, New Jersey. We'll see you there, maybe. All right.
All right. Then it was the Hiroshi Tanahashi match, wasn't it? So that was the Hiroshi Tanahashi final match in Ryogoku Kokugikan Sumo Hall against El Phantasmo for the NJPW World TV title, and they went to a 15-minute draw. My expectations were low going into this. I don't think ELP's had a particularly good year. I thought his G1 was spotty at best. But this match over-delivered my admittedly low expectations. I thought they did really well considering the spot. I thought ELP selling was quite good, if sort of veering into the realms of theatrical and hammy. I quite liked it. I enjoyed the match. They got me with a few of the near falls. It was an interesting choice to have it go to a time limit draw. It feels like Phantasmo's had a load of time limit draws with his TV title reign. It'd be, I don't know, interesting to see if they could actually book him to win some matches, but I mean, who cares at this point? So whilst it was a good match, I just still find it a really weird choice for Tanahashi's final New Japan match at Sumo Hall. Like, I really feel they could, like, maybe they did have something different lined up that fell through. It just seems really anticlimactic. Like, I felt they could have had a match with a better sense of grandeur than a TV title match with El Phantasmo.
Well, here's the thing. So, one, I'm in agreement with you in the sense of, I mean, again, I'm throwing out a name, mind you, but I'm not saying this person particularly, but you get my drift. Like, if they were like, all right, Ricky Choshu, that would make a little bit more sense. Or, I don't know. And you could still do your 15. But here we go. We leaned into the TV title. of it being 15 because you do not want Hiroshi Tanahashi to go a second over 15 minutes, right?
That doesn't matter, though. I mean, they could have. They're in charge of it. They didn't have to be. They could.
Are you telling me that this is not a legitimate title match? Are you telling me
like
this?
if it wasn't a TV title match, like they'll have to go more than 15 minutes now because it's not a TV title match. I mean, it's nonsense.
True. It is. That is nonsense. I'm nonsense.
Match goes
that's true. Yeah, I mean, look, it was a weird decision. I will say that it is a weird decision. You couldn't really give him the title though. You couldn't give him the win. But like at this point in the game, why couldn't you give ELP the win? I get it. I understand.
They're trying to keep Tanahashi strong, which is quite surprising to me that this is a guy who's been with losses coming out of his arse recently, but this year he's quite protected. You know, he went fairly deep in the G1 and beat a lot of guys that we think maybe he shouldn't have done. And it feels like maybe they're sort of building that up to the Yota Tsuji match at the Gifu homecoming show. For that, maybe the intention there is by protecting Tanahashi and having him beating guys, you know, not losing to ELP and beating guys like Wato or whatever, that Tsuji getting his win back from the G1 at the homecoming show might mean something.
Yeah, I mean that's the most logical thing, and also you know, if you got the stroke, why not give yourself a little bit of extra juice? Meet El Presidente. Right? Hey, I'm gonna put myself a little stronger. Oh, what do you got me going? 8 minutes and not going over? You're gonna change that. It's fine. Look, and you know, while we're quick to pass judgment on ELP, he's had a rough year too. So I try not to judge him too harshly, but it was a weird pick. I don't know. They must be. I don't know. He's got some stroke. He must really like him to give him that spot, that opportunity. That's pretty big. Yeah, but that's the last. Think of that. Let that sink in, kids. That's the last time you'll see Hiroshi Tanahashi in a Sumo Hall / Ryogoku ring. That's pretty significant, I think. Now it's pro wrestling.
I don't know if he's wrestling there for other companies. I think he might be doing.
Is Noah book there?
Maybe.
I hope.
I don't know. I'd have to ask a Noah fan, but I think that might have been like the last New Japan match in. Oh, who cares?
I mean, I kind of do. I mean, I think that's kind of crap, actually. He's going to go work for another promotion in that building?
Isn't he teaming with Kiyomiya, or has he already done that?
No, it hasn't happened yet, I don't think. They're not running fucking Sumo Hall, are they? That's over. You don't have to answer that, but I don't know.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I just don't want. I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. I kind of don't want that. Like, if that's his last match, it should be in a New Japan program. Like, he's going to go fucking work for Freedoms at Sumo. Come on, what are we doing?
Okay, no, it was at Sumo Hall, but it already happened. It was on October the 11th.
There you go. Oh, it did happen? I guess he didn't do well, did he? I don't know. I didn't hear a peep about it. Not one fucking peep. All right, very good. Hiroshi Tanahashi, the last stroll down the aisle at Sumo Hall.
So the clickbait says, will we find out? So this was before the show. Will we find out who Tanahashi's last opponent will be at this show? No, we didn't. No. Lady Guy Fieri says, are you emotionally prepared for Tanahashi's opponent to be just Shibata? Mark says, they have to be announcing Tanahashi at the final homecoming show now, don't they? Now that I was like going out of my mind. I was like, okay, surely I was waiting for, video package or, so I was hoping to hear the subconscious Shinsuke Nakamura entrance music. Dun, 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 but no, nothing. He was walking down the ramp. I was like, no, get back in the fucking ring. You need to find out who your opponent is. I couldn't believe that they didn't announce anything, which is leading me to the conclusion that they don't have it booked yet. They don't know who his opponent is.
I mean, one, this might be one of the more tight-lipped things, which has me worried in the sense of, if this were going to be a WWE wrestler or an AEW wrestler, those motherfuckers can't keep their mouth shut. That would leak. We would know. We would have a definitive name. The fact that it still hasn't been announced, it's been very quiet, leads me to believe, Joel, that it is somebody that is in Japan. Because I just find it amazing that for the first time in pro wrestling history, everyone has not said a peep, or people don't know. Like pro wrestlers are a weird batch in the sense of they don't know how to shut the fuck up. You've seen it many cases, whether it be online, offline, whatever. Now, the history of pro wrestling, it's fucking crickets. Come on. Which, again, if you're going to have a situation like that, you need to keep that circle nice and tight, nice and small. You can't be having that fucking shit floating around because it'll get out. Absolutely will get out. That scares me. 2. Yeah, it's October 14th. I mean, I understand that we're selling tickets hand over fist, and everyone's, moonwalking in the streets of Shibuya, but I am somewhat afraid, and not like afraid as in, oh my God, a ghoul. I'm afraid of disappointment of, they might not have a name solidified, booked 100%. Okay, maybe they do, maybe they don't. But also the fact that it might not be this fucking gigantic nuclear bomb of an announcement. Like, it might be a bomb as in a fucking fart in church. I don't know. I would be shocked if they don't already know, but I don't know what the fuck they're waiting for. And I really thought it would be on at this show that they would announce the opponent. Why? What other reason are they building? They're not building suspense at this point. They're building apprehension at this point. Like, we're past the point of suspense. This should be announced already. We're at the point of apprehension. And, which, again, maybe they have it and they're just super tight-lipped, and they told 3 people, and those people are sworn to secrecy. And if they break that code, they're going to die. They're going to be floating in a fucking river. Or it's not a done deal yet. We'll see. We will hopefully.
Or they've got to book it.
Maybe.
Tanahashi thought Gedo's doing it. Gedo thought Tanahashi's doing it. And they get all the way to January 3rd and be like,
what are we doing, boss? I don't know. What are we doing, boss?
I thought you were doing it.
Right. They're hitting the phone. Who do you know? Who's available?
Get Taguchi. Get Taguchi on the phone now.
Exactly. Right. Get your gear. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's weird. We'll just leave it at that. This is a weird scenario. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Then it was the never open weight title. Oh, the ELP and Tanahashi said they're going to enter World Tag League together. So,
that's
right.
Nice.
Never open weight title. Evil defeats Oleg Boltin, 11 minutes 40 seconds. I have nothing to say about the match itself. It was crap. No, we're hand waving the match. The only thing really to discuss here is the post-match segment where the rest of the House of Torch came out and were attacking Oleg Boltin. The Young Lions came in to try and save him, but they were beaten up as well. And then Aaron Wolf came in and cleaned house. And that has been announced as the match for Wrestle Kingdom. It's going to be Aaron Wolf versus Evil. So, Damon, what did you think of the segment and the match announcement?
Okay, so let's just start from the post-match beatdown. I liked it. I might be in the minority. I really liked it. I thought it was well done. I thought it. Again, he didn't have to do a lot. He could do his judo throw, and the guys took big bumps for him. Excellent.
They look great with their legs flying up in the air, don't they? When they take.
Oh, they did good. They did a great job. They did a great job selling that. Here's the thing. As much as we shit all over House of Torture, if we take each of those individuals, they have the potential to be really strong and tons of experience. And they know how to get him through this big time bright spotlight match. Will there be plenty of smoke and mirrors and bells and whistles and all that shit? Probably. But that'd be cool. Like that, trust me, that will be good. You want that. And he will come out of this as the honorable, defending the honor of New Japan Pro Wrestling, getting the big win, all the cameras and all the fucking flash bulbs going off and the TV coverage and them on the 11 o'clock news and all that shit. That they're going to show that clip. Of course they're going to beat the fucking evilest of evil, pardon the pun. Right? Makes sense. So I thought the execution of this was very well done. The place was buzzing. They were fucking they were having it. They were mad for it. And I think, again, between everybody in House of Torture, whether it be Evil, whether it be Kanemaru, whether it be even fucking Fale could play a role in this. If as long as he comes out of this looking like a fucking rose and kicking ass and taking names, and they can bump like motherfuckers for him, this will be fun. I guarantee it. This will be fun. I promise you. Now, again, could it go all tits up and him just lose his fucking mind and lose his place and fuck everything up? Yes, but that'd be funny. I mean, at least you're going to get a good fucking laugh out of it. But I don't think, I mean, again, they're going to keep it basic for him, but they're going to be bouncing around like a fucking ping pong ball. You know, they'll be all over the place, and they're smart. They'll be able to construct the match, and he'll be able to ward off the baddies, and everyone goes home with a smile on their face. I think that's a good idea.
I think it was Josh on Keeping It Strong style said, like, one of the Steven Seagal, like, Aikido videos where there's just people like running up to him and they're like flinging themselves onto the floor. That's what I wanted to be. I just want all of House of Torture lined up and he's just like throwing them. Yeah. And I think it was, might be bad Fraser on the Discord said, like, you can just imagine like the front page of the Tokyo Sports of like him judo tossing Don Farley or something like that. So yeah, I can see why people don't like it. Like there are some people sort of the more kind of Western Yankoid imbecile fans who are not keen on this because they don't like House of Torture. But I think it's important to separate the two things of I don't like it and this is a bad idea.
Right.
Because I think this is perfect use of Evil and House of Torture. It's a safe hand and experienced guy who can hold his hand, lead him through the match. And I know people may have wanted something more exciting, like, you know, Zack Sabre Jr. grappling match or whatever it is. I don't think he's ready for that. This is his first ever professional wrestling match. So all the smoke and mirrors, like you said, for House of Torture, I think that is exactly what we need here. And if you don't like it, like, fine. You know, no one's going to bust your balls for not enjoying House of Torture. But I think from a neutral perspective, you have to acknowledge that this is a sensible move for his first match.
1,000%. Like, where else would you want to see fucking House of Torture on a Wrestle Kingdom show? Like, this is it. Again, this is the match that will garner the front page of Tokyo Sports. This is the thing that will be on the cover of every Weekly Pro. This will be on the news. This will be in the highlights on whatever their version of Sports Center is. You know what I mean? Like, it's tailor made. And I also did like the fact that it separated him, Aaron Wolf, from all the other young lions. They had the other young lions get fed in, they get their ass beat, and then even after the whole thing went down, you know, his post match was more of, I lost my cool, I lost my mind, I knew I shouldn't have done that, I was out of line, but I couldn't sit there and watch what was happening. You know, I think it was done perfectly. It was done perfectly. And dare I say, I'm looking forward to it. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fucking moment of really again, this is not Okada Tanahashi we're talking about here. This is not Okada Omega. This is not Osprey Okada. This is pro wrestling. Let's fucking get a smile on our face. That's what this is. And I know those moments might be a little bit few and far between for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Let's enjoy this. Like if you're a Western, not even that. You know, I'm not even going to say. I was going to say if you're a Western fan of this product, like, no, I'm not saying that. I think everyone will sit there and fucking love the fact that our guy that we're banking on is kicking ass and taking names because this fucking heel group has been shitting on this promotion for a fucking year. And that's really it. End of story. Everyone can fucking have a good time and cheer that the heels are getting their ass kicked. Pro Wrestling 101.
The next match was the IWGP Tag Titles. Knockout Brothers, Oscar and Yuta Ice defeating Yuya Uemura and Shota Umino, 15 minutes, 40 seconds. I have thrown a lot of flowers at the Knockout Brothers because I think they're awesome. I think there's a lot of potential in them as singles guys, but just as a pure tag team at the moment, they've totally rejuvenated the division. I'm going to hand over to you, Dave. What did you think about the match? Has this shifted your appreciation of them, having watched
it? Has. It did. I'm not going to lie. Again, the gimmick, what have you. Here's what I noticed. When they were working on Ice's arm, I don't know what to call him. Yuta Ice? Why? What do I call him? They worked on it. He was selling that fucking arm walking back, to the fucking, and there are plenty of pro wrestlers that would have been like, I forgot about that arm. He was fucking nursing that arm the whole tail end of that match, which I thought, hey, good job by you, man. Seriously. Being young, not having as many years as a lot of people that would make that silly mistake of not selling that arm. He sold that fucking arm the entire fucking time. I was like, great job. Yeah, I dig it. I like the fact that they got the clean win. I really do. Not to say that they needed it. I think the titles needed it. And I think, Yuya and Ren, there's a future there as a tag team as well. So let's not fucking hand wave that. I liked it. I like them. Again, they're not are they the Midnight Express? No, but I can dig it. I can get past the silly, wannabe gangsta rapper guy gimmick. I can get through that because I think they're on to something. I think it is a little bit of a jolt that well, without question that it needed. And I think they're a good team. I think they work well together. I like the idea of the little pesky runt and the big giant. I like that. I like that dynamic in a tag team. Period. I think they're on to something, and I think the win was solid. I was so happy they didn't hot potato that belt. And yeah, let's see what's around the corner. If it's whoever it is. I would like to see them against like veterans and getting wins. That would be cool. But I like the idea of this being kind of something they can always go back to when it comes to these tag belts. I thumbs up for me, man. Thumbs up.
Yeah, the chemistry is so good. Like particularly between Yuto and Yuya Uemura. Of course, they had a fantastic singles match on the Road 2 shows. But I thought even the sequences with Yuto and Shota Umino were great as well. Like I'm really enjoying the Shota and Yuya tag team as well. It feels like moved away from the pressure and the limelight of the main event scene, where maybe it's just a case of too many cooks, or the horse designed by committee really kind of messing with Shota and doing him a disservice. In this environment where it feels like he's just getting to decide what he wants to do, he's soaring here. Like he's been fantastic in this tag feud. So I really hope that this has got legs, this Shota and Yuya tag team, because I think they complement each other really well, and it's definitely a team that's more than the sum of its parts. But just some of the sequences in this match where Shota's just like throwing bombs, like you can see like, oh, he is really good. There is something to this guy, and this is not me saying like, oh, strap him up and put him in the main event scene, because there's still stuff that he needs to work on. But I just found him tremendously enjoyable here. And I think since the tail end of his G1, I think Shota Umino is low key having a really, really terrific run of matches and is not getting the flowers that he deserves for it, because people are sort of digging their heels in and just looking at things like the clothes that he's wearing or the music or his shit hair. And again, like, those things are not unimportant if you want to be a top guy in the business. But I'm really fucking enjoying his wrestling at the moment, man. Shota Umino, he's been very, very enjoyable for me.
Here's the thing with tag team wrestling too. Like, you get to hide your weaknesses and work on them, while at the same time still being front and center in front of the fans. So again, in pro wrestling, absence doesn't always make the heart grow fonder. So again, they can still work on things, still get comfortable, and highlight your strengths in a tag. It's sometimes I think, as much as we say rocket ship them, strap them up, fucking let's go, New Japan, blah 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 blah, there is a part of me, especially that kind of amplified this thought by seeing this match particularly, is that maybe that they were rushing. Maybe they weren't ready. When I say rushing, I mean not rushing from a booking perspective, but are they even ready for that? And what we're seeing is the best of what they can bring to the ring in a tag environment. And I don't know if you have that opportunity to hide your weaknesses, promote your strengths in a singles match. You get exposed for being lazy or boring or just not having it physically or not having it psychologically.
Or maybe something like your opponent who doesn't want to play ball.
That's true too.
Whereas you've got two, red hot, young, hungry guys who are ready to step in there and do whatever. They're like, fuck it, yeah, let's, throw bombs at each other. Let's, hit each other really hard. Whereas you might have other guys you plugged into who don't want to do that stuff.
Right. That's why I kind of like the idea of this being a bit of a feud that goes on and on and on and on, and you can always go back to it.
I hope they go back to it.
I really do, because you're exactly right. Like, they could get into the ring and be like, I ain't fucking doing that. We're doing this. I mean, I can't tell you how many wrestlers have expressed that very statement when wrestling a guy like Minoru Suzuki. I wanted to do X, Y, and Z, but he was like, nah, we're doing A, B, and fucking C. Okay. Well, sometimes A, B, and C works. And sometimes A, B, and C fucking shits the bed. And you're like, well, it had to be you, dude, because Minoru Suzuki's fucking awesome and blah, 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 blah. And you're like, and it doesn't work. Yeah, absolutely. I think, and you have four guys in that ring that are like, we're on the same level. Let's fucking go. And they grew up in the yes, perfect. I think this is the environment which all four of those guys can shine. I hope they stick with it a little bit. I wouldn't have a problem with a rematch at all.
Yeah, there's so many interesting directions they could go, and I'm genuinely excited for World Tag League. Not to sit down and watch every single match on the tour, but just to see the high end stuff from it and what the final looks like. Are Bishamon going to be back in the mix because Taichi and Ishii going to be doing something significant? Because I think they're four really high quality teams that any combination of them, like, that is enough to keep this division going at a very high level. Dare I say, the next 12 months if they book it sensibly. So I think there's a lot to be excited about there. And yeah, love it.
I love it too. And I think, again, not to beat a dead, I think the point that you made, though, is so, like, I think that needs to stick in a lot of people's heads. If you're a young guy and you have a lot of talent and you might come to the table with a lot of ideas, but you get, you're paired up with old-timer Joe. Well, old-timer Joe ain't always going to want to do the same fucking things that young guy wants to do, right? And it's not always young guy's fault. It's just the way this dumb fucking thing is. So, yeah, I mean, I think there is something to be said about that. And I'm glad that you brought that up.
So then it was the IWGP Global Heavyweight title where Yota Tsuji defeated Gabe Kidd 24 minutes 13 seconds by Boston Crab
Yeah.
of all moves.
Tap.
Yeah, it's just an interesting one to talk about because I think in terms of the in-ring, it was really, really good. Like really high quality, high level stuff. They both worked extremely hard. And yeah, it has lost the magic and the aura of the initial match at New Beginning where it felt it had deeper significance. And I don't want to relitigate all the Gabe stuff. I kind of want to put that behind me at this point and appreciate that it was a really good match and almost ready to sort of move on from that because I really love the finish, the way that he did the Gene Blast, but then got him in the Boston Crab, like back to the Young Lion days, Boston Crab tapping out on the line mark. Like there was some very heavy-handed symbolism there. So in a way that almost felt like a write-off for Gabe
really
Kidd.
did.
Like I don't know if he's going to be leaving the company, but if this is the match he's going out on, I'd say you can't really ask for a better way to go out than that, given everything that's happened. But yeah, it was a really good match. It was kind of sort of veering into the realms of what I would describe as like an AEW fan's idea of what a New Japan match is. Just like a lot of moves, a lot of sort of tropey stuff. Your classic painting by numbers, strong style, no selling
I'm going to
fighting
hit you
spirit.
hard. You're going to hit me hard. You're going to hit me with your
Yes.
finisher. I'm going to kick out at one. Yeah, I get you.
Yes. And like a bit excessive, a bit heavy-handed with that. Like I'm always sort of like a less is more person when it comes to that. So they laid it on thick, but I can't really fault it. I thought they did a tremendous job, and yeah, it left me wondering, like, is that it? Are we done with Gabe Kidd now?
See, I felt that way, but then in another weird way, I was like, oh my God, is Gabe Kidd going to fucking wrestle Hiroshi Tanahashi? As all I kept thinking of was, the crocodile tears at Wrestle Kingdom from Hiroshi Tanahashi. And, how he's fucking all about the lion mark and all that shit. And it did kind of somewhat, maybe sort of feel like that. They're both on their knees at the end of the match. They're both bowing to each other. They're both kissing the fucking center of the ring. I think Yota Tsuji is the future of this company. I don't think anyone, as much as it's not just been a straight no bumps in the road path. He's the guy. Gabe Kidd, for all of our hoping and wishing and tongue-in-cheek jokes and all of that, he has been an absolute asset. And even though it felt like he's kind of going off to other pastures, and again, we have no word whether that's true, whether that's just a feeling, whether that's a whatever. I mean, I haven't talked to you about it, so maybe you know more than I do, but I haven't heard anything. That said, it did feel
it feels like an amicable breakup with someone that you had a really passionate relationship with, and you're sort of still mourning the future that you wished you were going to have together, but then you can also compartmentalize it and they're like, you know what, it's better off we go our separate ways.
Right. That Adam's apple just got in the way. I just can't get past it. I can't get over it. I'm sorry. We have to move on. Yeah, it did feel weird. That's for sure. It did feel like there was a period at the end of that sentence. That's for sure. Yeah, we'll see. But it is Yota Tsuji, and the match. That was the beginning of, okay, have we turned a corner? Are we more focused? Where are we going? Because it feels like that's our Wrestle Kingdom main event.
Yeah, well, let's stick with Tsuji then. So he's going to wrestle Tanahashi at the Tanahashi homecoming show, and still a lot of talk about not necessarily double gold thing, like not that they've said it's going to be a double title match, but talk of using the global title to claim a shot at the IWGP World title. that seems to be where we're headed because that's what everyone's talking about. So at the moment, that would be a Wrestle Kingdom main event of Takeshita versus Tsuji. Now, we'll talk about Takeshita later, but Yota Tsuji has lost several title matches. He won the New Japan. So he lost his debut, for the re-debut from Excursion match at Dominion against Sanada.
Mm-hmm.
Won New Japan Cup, but then lost the title match against Naito Sakura Genesis. Lost a G1 final against Zack Sabre Jr. Lost a G1 semi-final to Evil this year. So that's quite a few big losses. Do you feel that putting Yota Tsuji in the Wrestle Kingdom main event, him taking another loss on that stage would make him look like a specialist in failure? Like, by plugging him into that spot, do you think it's must win for Tsuji, or do you think he can gain a lot from a narrow defeat in a brilliant match that's critically acclaimed, like making the comparison to like Wrestle Kingdom 11, where Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada had that transformative match, and Omega lost, but no one was talking about, oh, he lost the match, so he's a loser. But again, like I said, Tsuji's carrying the weight of all those other high-profile defeats. Like, do you think he would need to win at Wrestle Kingdom?
No, I don't think he needs to win. I still think he will, but I don't think he needs. You go through the history of that show, and all the names that did lose in a big spot for that title went on to even bigger things. Do I think it is vital that they have a match that is buzzworthy, is worthy of being a main event at Wrestle Kingdom? Absolutely. Because if they do that, it won't matter who wins or loses, right? And if it's a struggle, and if it's by the hair of his chinny chin chin, and if it's, back and forth, and whatever, like if he has a strong showing, we can overcome a loss. Again, you look at all the names that have been in that spot and have lost, from Okada, Naito, Omega. There's plenty of people that we talk about it all the time. About how everyone in that fucking building thought at the time, Okada was winning that belt, and it didn't happen. And then everyone in that fucking building thought Naito was winning that title, and it didn't happen. And say what you will, I think everyone came out of it maybe not even better, but at the very least, people weren't shitting on them. So I don't know if a win is an absolute and has to happen, but what I do think absolutely needs to happen is both those guys looking each other in the eye and saying, okay, they're giving us 35 minutes. We gotta go balls to the wall and just and do this, and make this worthy of a Wrestle Kingdom main event. That's pressure. That's physically draining. Like, people, it's a lot. It's a lot to ask. Like, it's easier to say, okay, I'm winning the title, great, but no, you have a responsibility on this show, even though it's being carried by a retirement and a fun Aaron Wolf match. Like, we all know in the back of our minds what needs to occur, and I think they do too. So it's a pressure, but again, where there's pressure, there are diamonds, and boy, oh boy, this company needs a fucking diamond, because we've had a lot of cubic zirconias. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think the importance of having an absolute killer match that gets all the casuals talking and people talking about Tsuji as a star is more important than who wins or loses the match. And I get it. Like, I know there's the kind of baggage of all those matches he's lost, and I have been calling more loudly than anyone about the need to elevate this new generation with top titles. But I think with all the extra eyeballs and attention that's on this Wrestle Kingdom and the TV Asahi stuff and all the other stuff that you've outlined, having a great match, not a very good match, but a great match, that is what needs to happen. And the result of the match is, dare I say, unimportant or less important.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, um, that's if let's be honest here. That's what the people gravitate to when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like that's what we need. That's our steak dinner. Like that's you can't you can't have that go dry. It's vital, and to have that. Oh my God, you got to watch this match. Oh, did you catch Wrestle? Did you watch it live? No. Oh, well, fucking watch it. This match is incredible. Like it can't be we get on for this review show and be like, yeah, it was a really good match. No, it can't be. Like it has to be. Shit, that was fucking great. I got goosebumps. My pants were down. When was the last time I fucking said pants down to a New Japan Pro Wrestling match? It's been a long fucking time. Well, guess what? The belt has been cinched too long. I need to drop them. I need to release, right? And I think everyone is in the same boat. We're all going to have a big fucking jack off party if this is good, and that's what we're all looking for. Maybe not that, but you know what I mean.
So then after the match, while Suji's celebrating, we had all the unaffiliated guys come out. He had a hug with gay kids. They raised each other's hand. Then the War Dogs guys came out. So it was Finlay, Gedo, Ishimori, Knockout Brothers, Clark Driller. They all came out and surrounded gay kids. And I thought, oh, they're turning on him. And I got excited. But then they all hugged each other and they're all best mates now. And there's a alliance between the War Dogs and unaffiliated. It was all a bit strange. And I know they sort of hinted at it before with Suji offering David Finlay a handshake after their previous match. Like the upshot of all this, the tangible result so far is Hiromu teaming with Gedo for Super Junior Tag League.
Is that real?
And that's real. And Clark Connors teaming with Daiki Nagai. Right, that's what we've got so far. Now, I'm not saying that is all that this alliance will yield, but it feels weird to me. And again, I can't help but come back to Naito being the ghost at the feast and thinking how much of that his shadow cast over this whole unaffiliated mess and their inability to move on. Maybe they'll build to something, but at this point, I don't know if New Japan deserve the benefit of the doubt. So I don't know if they will deliver on this in a compelling way, but it was certainly interesting and it certainly got people talking. Did you have any strong thoughts about this alliance between unaffiliated
Hiromu and Gedo? That's a okay. I mean, I guess we got to start somewhere. Like, all right, okay. Like you're Hiromu, and you're like, "Yep, I want Gedo as my partner." Like, who would say that? No one. I wouldn't want him as my partner.
Sorry, I got a question here. David says, "Remember when Hiromu had a big singles match with Naito at Wrestle Kingdom? That was surely going to lead to something big happening for him."
Oh, Lord,
look, now he's teaming with Gedo for Super Junior Tag League.
That is crazy. Wow, that's unexpected for sure. Why wouldn't it be Ishimori?
Ishimori is teaming with Robbie X.
Okay. I mean,
I'll tell you the block. So block A is Wato and Yo, Clark Connors and Daiki Nagai, Hiromu and Gedo, Jacob Austin Young and Templario, Taguchi and Dragon Diarrhea, Sho and Doki. And then in block B is Kushida and somebody called Yuki Yoshioka, Ishimori and Robbie X, Despy and Kukai, Tiger Mask and Yamato, Robbie Eagles and Fujita, and Dick Togo and Kanemaru. I can't remember who it was. I will find out who it was, but someone predicted this team. No, they actually called for this team on the Discord and labeled the team Whiskey Dick.
Didn't they say that on the commentary? Like Charlton Dick was like, that's a new definition of whiskey dick. And I'm like, oh God almighty.
I think it was mature. It was 5 years ago he said it.
No, he said it, but he also said it on the last show. Maybe I just had forgotten it from previous, but yeah, whiskey dick. Oh boy, what are we doing? All right, yeah, that doesn't sound great. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds pretty
No,
awful.
that's crap. I would say, like, the same advice I always give for Super Junior Tag League: just watch the Korakuen Hall main events. Although, actually, no, I did say that, but one of the Korakuen Hall main events is rubbish. So watch the good one. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. I'd have to check. No, I'm going to find out now, because this is why you're listening to it, listener. So let's have a look. Let's go
All
to
right.
the schedule page, because I know that there are 2 shows in Korakuen Hall, and I always do that. I watch the tour and I watch the Korakuen Hall shows, and I think, oh no, it's going to be good this year. And then I watch the rest of it, and I'm like, oh no, it wasn't good. It was just good for the Korakuen Hall show matches. So it's October 23rd is one of them, and the main event
I
for
got
that is
something to do. I got a thing. I can't. Why?
no. This is good, right? On paper,
All
this
right.
is good. This is Kukai and El Desperado against Fujita and Eagle. So Despi and Kukai had a pretty good match with Sho and who's the other guy, Doki, in the Road 2 show. So it was a nice sort of showcase for Kukai, who I've not seen a huge amount of. But yeah, him and Despi against Fujita and Eagles should be good. But then on the 24th of October, main event is Taguchi and Diarrhea against Sho and Doki. And I'm not watching that, guys. Sorry.
Yeah. I got something to do that day. I will also say this: Robbie Eagles in Korakuen Hall in a big spot. That's money. So I think we'll
Don't
be good.
miss.
Nope.
He does not miss. Okay then. Where are we up to then? Main event time, isn't it?
Main event.
Main event. Konosuke Takeshita defeats Zack Sabre Jr. 31 minutes 16 seconds. Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait one moment here, because
Why?
I'm reading results from somewhere and it's labeled the name of Takeshita's finisher, and I just want to double check that. Oh, Power Drive. Because
What do
I'm
they have?
reading it from I'm reading it from Effing Kenta's report that he's written up on the Reddit NJPW page, and
Oh.
he's called it Wagamama. And
Wagamama.
Wagamama is Wagamama's the name of like a
This restaurant.
shitty chain restaurant. Yes.
Right. Right. It's like the Applebee's of fucking London, isn't it? With an Asian flair. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Power
know.
Drive. Let's stick with Power Drive. Although I
Power.
would maybe Wagamama means Power Drive. I don't know.
Well, thank you, effing
yeah.
Kenta. Thank you.
Thanks. We appreciate you. Even if they won't make you a moderator. There's no justice in the world.
No, they won't make him a moderator. I even know that name. Why wouldn't they do that?
Yeah. Because the moderator, there's one moderator left, Evan Deadly Sins, and he refuses to relinquish his moderatorship or appoint any new mods. It's quite funny. It's just this ongoing thing where everyone in the subreddit's like, oh, make someone else the mod, make Evan get into the mod. And I know they are desperate to do it, but Evan Deadly Sins is just like, nope.
All right.
So
well,
the subreddit is completely unmoderated for all intents and purposes.
It's anarchy. It's anarchy. All right.
Right. This match then is fucking great. Like, really outstanding pro wrestling. And for all my reservations about who's winning and who's the champion, how often the champion's going to appear, I think it's important to just take a moment to celebrate 2 of the best wrestlers in the world having an outstanding wrestling match on a big stage, because New Japan needs more of this. So we can do all the bitching and moaning about who's winning and dual contracts and all that stuff separately. But sorry, so my son is wailing downstairs.
I heard that. I was like,
Martha, do you want me? Do you want to come up here? Do you want a cuddle? You come up here, I'll give you a cuddle. I'm still finishing my podcast. But yeah, as I was saying, I think it's important to celebrate the fact that we had some really high quality pro wrestling. You know, this isn't any Evil versus Sonata lumberjack match nonsense. No, this is proper pro wrestling. This is New Japan Pro Wrestling at its best, with 2 guys just going all out, having a killer match. I would say it was right up there with the G1 match. The only thing I disliked was the finish. The finish with the power drive was just landed a little bit flat. It seemed to come out of nowhere, and the fans didn't really react to that as the sort of climax of the match. Arthur, come on, mate. Come and give me a
What's up,
cuddle.
Arthur? Come on, get up there.
He really loves his daddy, don't you?
I know.
Come around this side. Come around the other side.
Did you give him a boring? Give him a boring chant. He'll love it.
Oh, come here.
Boring.
So yeah, we'll save the moaning about the booking, if there is moaning to be done. I don't know what you think about it for later, but can you just first of all, what did you think of the bell to bell match itself?
Great. For all of our reservations about Zach holding this title again, and is he a draw? And it didn't turn out the way that we would hope when it came to the draw. He's fucking great in the ring. I'm sorry, just love him. Like there's everything he does. There are wrestlers where you can honestly say, like, every movement, everything, it has a purpose and it has a call. And not only does everything that he does in the ring have a purpose, like even when he quote fucks up, it has a purpose. Like when he misses, I don't know, whatever, or he's reversed or whatever. Like it just seems to just be compelling. Even if you're not the biggest fan of grapple fuck, remember when grapple fuck was a term? Even if you're not the biggest fan, it's like you have to admire the fact that A, he's incredibly creative, and B, he's able to think on his feet, as if he were boy, is there anybody else that plays that fucking role of the grapple fuck guy better than him at this point? It's just he combines every element. Like that style can be boring for a lot of people, but he makes it so compelling for me, at least for me anyway. Takeshita, I still think there's stuff in the tank with him. Like I don't even think we've seen him at balls to the wall, 10 out of 10. We're gassing everything up and let's go. Like I still think there's stuff left on the table. That's saying something because I even think what he delivered here was pretty spectacularly really great. Was it over the top at any point? I didn't feel it. I really he has. Look, I think it was Voices of Wrestling. I'm not I think I know it was Voices of Wrestling. And there was a clip where they go on and on about Brock Lesnar and how the world needs more Brock Lesnar's in the world. Well, guess what? The world needs more Takeshitas in this. Like he's just got the build and the aura and the fact that you know what, he can do the high spotty wrestling stuff, but he could also beat the fuck out of you. I like the fact that he dishes out just as much as he takes, and vice versa. I thought this was really good, and once again, you felt it, like you felt it in your bones. Of this is what we pay for. This is the $10 a month. This is why we stay up late. This is why we get together every week and talk about this product. Like it's those things. And I'm not even saying that this is like the cat's meow top of the line. I would put this in my top 100 New Japan Pro Wrestling matches. I'm saying this was a great pro wrestling match for the show that was, quite honestly, like we needed a main event like this. We really did. And when the match was over, the finish, it did come out of nowhere. I don't know if it needed to be that. I don't want to even say the typical New Japan, kick out, big move, boom, boom, boom. Like I don't know if you've necessarily needed that. There was a bit of a surprise element to the finish, but I kind of like that. I did. I kind of like the fact that it was a wrestling match, and it could have come out of anywhere, and you didn't need to have build, and then kick out of at one, and all that shit. While again, there was a time and a place for that. I absolutely in the right environment, in the right place, and right execution, it's lovely pro wrestling. But I didn't know. I didn't really feel it needed it here. I know that you'll probably go there next, but even I was a little bit shocked at the reaction from the crowd. Like it felt like the crowd wasn't having it. Like it felt like they were sitting on their hands a little bit. Like there wasn't that typical pop of a guy winning a title, that's for sure. And then he gets on the mic and I think he turned a couple people to his favor, even though you still hear boos. And he acknowledged it. I'm willing to give it a chance, Joel. I really am. I'm willing to give it a chance. I still think he's like one of the best fucking pro wrestlers on planet Earth, and he's young, and there's value there. I know people are anxious of having your world title on a guy who's, quote, not full-time New Japan Pro Wrestling guy. I think it can be good. I think it will be good. And I think, at least for the main event and getting into Wrestle Kingdom, I think we're in for some solid stuff. I'll give you that much.
Yeah, I've got a lot of conflicting thoughts on it because I've got the fear of an AEW contracted wrestler being world champion and taking that over to Dynamite or Collision or whatever and defending it in silly matches against silly challengers and disappearing for months at a time. Like those
That
are
will happen.
all, yeah, those
All
are
you described
valid
will happen.
concerns.
Yep.
Yes.
It will happen. And as long as you can say, just don't watch it. That's the best. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not even going to acknowledge it's a fucking thing. I'm really not. I'm going to watch the New Japan stuff. I'm not going to turn on the AEW stuff because I'll just fucking yell at my TV and just ignore it. That's what I'm going to do.
I have concerns about the optics of an AEW contracted guy potentially winning in the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, this show that's got so many eyeballs on it, and then disappearing for months at a time. I even think we can't rule out the possibility of Tsuji not being the challenger. And, maybe they do like Takeshita versus Okada in the Wrestle Kingdom main event. Who knows? Who knows what terrible ideas they've got up their sleeves? But those are all valid fears, and I cannot dismiss those. But I think it's also important to acknowledge that Takeshita is a great wrestler, one of the best in the world on his day. Maybe we've not seen him delivering at that high bar as consistently as he did in last year's G1, but the talent is there, right? The ability is there, and I'm excited to see what he does on the biggest stage, Wrestle Kingdom main event. It doesn't get bigger than that, and I'm sure with that spotlight on him and all the pageantry that will come with it, he is going to thrive on that pressure, because there was a really interesting little documentary that they did with him. It's on YouTube and New Japan World, where they followed him around for a bit. And he's an interesting man, very confident man who's bet on himself and has got just the highest prizes in his sights. And I think whilst I can sit here and moan and say like, oh, why aren't they giving spots like this to the New Japan Dojo guys? Maybe they just need to get on his level. If they were as good as him, maybe they'd be getting those spots as well. So he's taken a lot of risks. He's gone abroad and he's made himself into a guy that whoever it is making that decision, whether it's, New Japan office or booking committee or TV Asahi, whatever it is, like the person whose voice matters in that room has decided that Takeshita is the guy. So I think in a lot of ways, his peers from the New Japan dojo could learn a lot from him. Okay? If you want that spot, be better than him. I think that there's a lot of good that can come from him being in that spot to help elevate those guys like Tsuji and Uemura and Shota Umino and help them possibly get over that hump and be established as top guys in the company. But I also have some concerns about the presentation and the lack of consistency. Like Rocky Romero put out a big tweet afterwards saying, it was just a big heel promo basically saying, oh, this guy's come in and he's destroyed all of your favorites and he's been the best guy in the company from day one and he's not even trying la 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 la. And I thought, okay, that's great. That's what the story should have been. That's what I've said the story should have been. So I wish he had been presented as that cocky, dominant outsider heel from day one. And it's clear that they're hedging their bets with him, that we've had all this narrative about, he's going to unite the pro wrestling world. And there was a marked change in direction in the layout of his matches in the middle of the G1, where suddenly he was the babyface in peril and is, pulling all faces like, oh, I'm in danger. I need to come back and be the babyface. And the kind of mixed promos he's cutting where he's saying like, oh, well, if you're booing me, get lost. If you're not booing me, then hey, you're going to enjoy this. It just feels like fence sitting to me, and I wish they would just get their house in order to present something a bit more consistent with that, because I think he's at his best when he's a cocky outsider heel. I think that was the narrative to go with, and that's the one that Rocky Romero is pushing. So at least there's someone in that room who thinks it should be the case, but it's all very incoherent. They're all presenting different versions of this character, and I just wish it would be a bit more consistent, because that's all I'm lacking with Takeshita, is that emotional investment. And I think that is the case for a lot of New Japan fans as well, as you can hear from the reception. So it's not a lost cause. I think he could get there and he could win the fans over. I think the easiest way to have done that would have been to start off as a heel and then transition to a babyface after, doing your time. But so he could get there. I mean, if he's putting in consistent performances at a very high level and making regular appearances for the company, he may well win over the fans and win me over. But again, that's just the one thing I'm lacking, just that emotional hook, which is key to getting the very best out of this product. That's been the most enjoyable moments for me as a fan, when I'm deeply emotionally invested in the storylines. I'm not just looking at work rate and big moves and Meltzer star ratings. That there's got to be some heart and soul to the stories of, things like Naito's redemption being a case in point for that. And that's the one thing I feel we're lacking at the moment. So they've got work to do in doing something with the Takeshita character and carefully selecting an opponent for him, whether that is Yota Tsuji, to set up a compelling story that has some emotional depth to it, rather than just like, oh, here are two guys that are going to have an absolute banger. So a lot of mixed feelings on Takeshita. There's definitely a lot of potential there, and I totally understand why they've gone with him. Great wrestler. He's young, he's good looking, like New Japan desperately needed someone like that. But there's also all those sort of nagging doubts and worries about what the long-term vision is and the incoherence in the presentation that just are just holding me back from being like, yes, full steam ahead, this is brilliant.
No, I'm right there with you. I mean, you're right. There is an emotional disconnect that I hope that they can fill, or at least backfill a little bit, leading up into the biggest show of the year. The fans, some again are into it, some obviously aren't. And you're right. Pick a side. It can't be this neutral ground of two guys just going for the title, because you got a rather large pocket of fans that are, look, we sit here and I think we're the hyper amplified voice saying the things that the silent, polite people sitting in the third row at Ryogoku are thinking in their head, but they just don't verbalize as obnoxiously as we do. It's pro wrestling is always best when you have that. Now, sometimes you get there because it's just the struggle of two guys and who's the better one. And you can find that emotional connection. And it's really not necessarily the promotion doing it. It's more of the two guys and how they're able to convey those emotions through their work in the ring. Very difficult to do. They got to figure that part out, because if there's a missing element, that's it. But in the same breath, Joe, I can understand why there's that missing element, because at the end of the day, I mean, how many times have we seen one particular wrestler that you really wouldn't think would take off, but then there's a connection and a spark, and that lights the fire, and then the next thing you know, we've got a fucking blazing inferno on our hands. That's pro wrestling.
My worry is, can he do that as being a part-timer, though? That's my fear.
That's the thing. So just like you suggested, if you leaned hard into the fact that I'm taking this title with me and I'm fucking toodaloo-ing it, and now it's okay, we know we have a great match in our hands, and there's a possibility of that happening, but we got to take all of our fucking emotional investment and put that on a guy, Yota Tsuji, if this is the case, of being the guy that's not going to let that happen. I think that's vital, and I think that's a missing element that they need to make up some ground. The bad news is that, to me, in the past 7, 8, maybe even further than that, New Japan doesn't do a great job of that when it comes to the Wrestle Kingdom main events. We've talked about it a lot. And a lot of times it's, kind of the idea of, okay, this guy we feel deserves the title and he's going to win, and he doesn't, or something along those lines. If there's that hook, and again, I think the easiest path to that hook is Takeshita being all in on, I'm taking my title and fuck you, and I'll come here when I feel like it. And Yota Tsuji saying, you know what? That's a bunch of noise. And I'm going to win this title, and it's staying here, and I'm going to be the guy that fucking carries this promotion, and I'm committed here. To me, that's the most baked in solution. There's no indication that it will be any different for Takeshita, in the sense that you're not going to get a solid 5-year deal, that ain't happening. So we go the other route and see what happens with that, because I think that would work perfectly.
Yeah, so overall, I think we'll celebrate what was a really good show and cautiously optimistic.
Yes.
Heading towards Wrestle Kingdom season.
Yes. Here's what King of Pro Wrestling did. It showed you that, as we've said plenty of times before, it's not the talent, it's the company that's getting in their own way. We have lots of talent. I'm not worried about that. And at least King of Pro Wrestling gave you a moment to catch your breath and be like, that's why I like this. That's what I've been begging for months. That was a good show. It really was. It was a really good show. They just need to keep the momentum going. And not only that, keep the momentum going, Joel, they need solid direction. They really do. They need solid direction. And don't give me House of Torture as a direction. House of Torture feels like we're just treading water. We need, pick a guy, give him the fucking reins. Let's go for it. And again, let's get back on. Let's get back going. Let's get back on the ship. It's not that hard. We can figure it out. Go listen to the fucking Patreon show. You got 3 dudes that are at the end of their rope, but compelling stuff. So if they can do it, we know the brass at New Japan can figure it out as well.
Hey kids, Jeff Hawkins from Shake Them Ropes here, and for almost 15 years we have been part of Voices of Wrestling. Myself and Chris Novembrino give a review of that week's news, the lazy river of wrestling criticism of that week's WWE and AEW, and then Vader Club, where we watch something from one of our past, or something we may have missed. Smart, snarky, and sometimes serious, but not always. That's us, and if that's your vibe, we'd love to have you listen to Shake Them Ropes every week on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network.
Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney, and every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.